All right, what's going on, everybody? So I want to quickly encourage some people. A lot of people are confused right now. You may have been listening to my videos. You may be looking at the world around you. You may be looking at some of the calamities. You may even be a refugee of a country like Ukraine, and you're a Christian and you are trying to figure out what's going on, right? You may be a person living here. You're not sure what your next, paycheck, your next meal, where that's going to come from, and many other things, right? And so I've been talking about how there's going to be some things that are getting a little worse. You see some tensions already just across the world, depending on where you live. And all of this sounds bad, and it's going to get a little tougher a bit before it gets better. But one thing I have to make very clear is that God, he's distinguishing and he's bringing forth those that are unrighteous through exposure, but he's also protecting and providing for the righteous and those that are in his presence. And so if you read Psalms, specifically even Psalms 1, it talks about the delineation of the righteous and the unrighteous, the godly and the ungodly. So I'm telling you right now, as it states in the Lord, whether it's prophetically or whether just reiterating what the Bible is saying, it's that God will give you protection and provision no matter the circumstance. And so you can't be sitting there thinking, oh man, it's getting bad. Oh, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my next, meal or paycheck, whatever it is. God is going to protect you and provide for you during this time. And the problem is that a lot of us, we lack faith, we lack trust, and we don't get in his presence. We don't get and meditate on his law day and night, as Psalm 1 says. And the Bible says in Psalm 1 that you are like a tree planted by streams of water, by rivers of water, and that in due season you will bear fruit, and that your leaves will not wither, and that all you do will prosper. And I'm summarizing that. But really, it's not saying like, oh, sometimes it'll happen. It'll be a grab bag. There's a 50-50 shot. It says that if you are leaning into him, you get in his presence, no matter the circumstance, he will provide and protect you. And so those that are in doubt, you're in fear, you're anxious, you don't want to be that. First of all, it's a mental, it's a spiritual, it's an internal correction that you have to put your trust and faith in. And then from there, trust that, maybe you're not certain of where you're going. You're not certain of where your next meal might come from. You're not certain of your finances, your job, and all these different things. But you have to remember that God sees you. Just like in Matthew 6, he takes care of, he looks after all the birds and of the air and all these different creatures, and they get all the food and they get taken care of. But how much more does he love you as a child of God looking over you? And so again, stop complaining, stop getting worrisome, stop looking at the world and your circumstance and what's happening to you. You might even have gone through something personal, a breakup, a loss of life, a situational, circumstantial calamity, a disaster, a tragedy, traversity, whatever it is that you're going through. Despite all of these things, despite all of the scandals and the issues and everything, God is going to protect you and he's going to provide for you during that time. But the stipulation, the condition is that you have to lean into him. You have to get into his presence. You have to get into his word. You have to be praying. You have to be seeking him. Otherwise, you're just going to be out there fending for yourself. You're going to be out there trying to do things out of your own flesh. And then it's just going to be a spiral effect, a disaster waiting to happen, just getting worse and worse. But if you trust him, you lean into him, and you're urgent about that, then God's going to protect and provide for you. And so you have to really believe that. So despite what the prophetic words are, despite what's going on around you, despite all of the different things, again, things will get better for a lot of people. But for those in particular that are going through a valley, a difficult time, remember, Christ walks with you and he's going to be there with you through all of it. And so you just have to hold hands, go through it with him and lean into him. And that's it. It's that simple. And again, I know it's words, right? But think about it, pray about it. Think about the faith aspect. Think about, the practical aspect, but also just trust and get guidance from him. Don't just take my word for it. Look at the Bible, look at and lean into him through prayer. So guys, it's a good time. Be encouraged. Love you guys and talk to you guys very soon.